9. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a gentle breeze and a temperature near 81. Moving into Friday, the same with a high of 81 and sunny. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
All roads lead to adventures and a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Get ready to forge a new path in 2025 and discover our new Kia SUV family. Bill Bird Kia is now offering 1.90% APR for up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. It's the best family SUV with third-row seating space for the entire family to unwind. Bill Bird Kia is the home of that 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. Kia, movement that inspires.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento with $2,165 per month for 1,000 financed at 48 months. Quantities limited. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. Not available on balloon financing. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 10/31/24.
It's football season, and that boot store reminds you to roll tide. Go Noles, roar Eagles, sick 'em dogs, and go Gators. Before the cold weather hits, shop that boot store for all your winter western wear and Carhartt work clothes to keep you warm on the job. That boot store, where God is good all the time. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 till 5, and Friday and Saturday, 9 till 5:30. Next to Bill Bird Kia, 15th Street, Panama City, that boot store.
Ellis Agency Insurance has been serving Panama City and Bay County for years. They offer a full line of affordable insurance coverage of all types. Many people are attracted to Ellis Agency Insurance because of their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call independent agent Johnny Ellis for a true comparison of your personal or business insurance. Ellis Agency Insurance at the Old Cullen Insurance location, 1134 Harrison Avenue, across from Dandy Donuts and Deli. Call 763-1627.
Looking for a fast and convenient blood draw? Come to Panhandle CPR, 97 Oak Avenue in downtown Panama City. We partner with all local and national labs to get you quick, accurate results. No insurance? No problem. We offer affordable self-pay options so you can stay on top of your health. And for added convenience, we'll even come to you at your home or workplace. Call us at 850-381-4288 or visit panhandlecpr.com. Panhandle CPR, keeping our community healthy and safe every day.
Flooded vehicles from recent hurricanes will be flooding the used car market, so buyer beware. If you're in the market for a used vehicle, be on the lookout for flood damage and make sure you have a qualified mechanic inspect it before you buy. The free VIN check service from the National Insurance Crime Bureau is a good place to start. Head over to nicb.org to check it out.
To report fraud, call us at 1-800-TEL-NICB. This is a public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida. Get ready.
Give us a call, 850-215-6290.
Sports Talk Radio will never be the same.
Oh, you gotta give it that fuck.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Onion pickles.
Live and local on ESPN.
Northwest Florida.
I remember the first time that we played that rejoiner, hearing a little bit of Hawk Tua, and I remember busting out laughing. I'll still say that that has not gotten old. I think one of the good things is we don't use that on a heavy rotation, but shout out to Bone Crusher for making that happen. You are listening to ESPN Northwest Florida 104.3 right here in beautiful Panama City and 101.9 in Port St. Joe. I'm David Hayes along with the great AG and Caveman Rick. AG, what's it been, 2 weeks, I think?
Yeah, I wasn't here last week. I had to go back home, unfortunately, for a funeral, and then the week prior, just work stuff popped up. So
there you go. And we did have some of the gang, I don't even know what we call them because they have so many different names, but they're only here on Wednesdays. They're the faithful AG followers, but they did chime in last Wednesday, and I thought because you weren't here, they weren't going to be chiming in, and so then, like, second hour, I finally log into the ESPN Northwest Florida YouTube, and I was like, oh, my bad, guys. Had I known, you know.
And that's the thing, right? I mean, and that's, kudos to you and kudos to Caveman. They love Banji. Obviously, they love Morgan as well. Some of the guys on there, they give me grief about it. Not in any.
Our numbers go up when she's on.
They're always chiming in, and then they love Caveman. They love his honesty, his brutal honesty.
Brutal honesty.
Kicking babies and all that stuff. So, but no, and then, of course, the ones that, and he's not going to like when I say this, Caveman isn't, but the ones that really, really dig his vibe are the New York people that tune in.
That's the Northeast, man. It's people get it from up there. We are brutally honest. We're not going to sugarcoat things. We're not going to tell you, oh, bless your heart. No, we're just going to give it to you straight.
Well, bless your heart for the Northeast, I guess, because last night, not in the traditional Southern way of saying that, but almost like a congratulatory bless your heart, as the Yankees avoided the sweep last night with a big win, 11-4. Freddie Freeman got it started. When you texted, as soon as you texted about the ankle, I wasn't even watching the game at this point. When you texted about the ankle, I was like, I go and I check the box score. I'm like, yes, because I put $20 on Freddie Freeman to hit a home run last night. So that's, plus 525. It's down to 425, I think, for this evening. So we'll see. What do you think, Caveman Rick? Does Freddie Freeman go 7 games in a row hitting a home run? Yeah, in the World Series.
You would think the odds would say no. You would think last night it would have been more likely that not for it to happen. Laws of averages, So this, tonight, I don't know, but I mean, he's on a tear, and with an ankle, I was even joking, maybe Aaron Judge should do something to his ankle, maybe that would warm up his bat, So it's tough. That's a tough it's a tough bet right now tonight, I think.
And I keep hearing all the talking heads, right, discussing, why are they still pitching to Freddie Freeman, and they're just throwing up meatballs to Freddie Freeman, and he's hitting them out, and it was a pretty damn good pitch that he hit out last night. If I'm not mistaken, it was a cutter going away from him that he yanked out of the ballpark, and then they showed the graphic last night of him and both Will Smith from Louisville, by the way, their home runs, and neither one of them would have been out in Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
The
perks of playing in New York,
right? And that's the advantage for that a lot of the Yankees players have enjoyed over the years, and but again, it's not like. It's not like Freddie's just going up there and hitting eephus pitches that are coming in at 60 miles an hour. He's hitting really, really good pitches. I mean, are there some mistakes in there? Abso-freaking-lutely, man.
And that's what good hitters do, is
100%.
Jump on your mistakes.
Well, and it's not just good hitters, but it's good hitters that know what the moment is and don't shrink to it.
Yeah.
They step up and they make it happen. And that's what Freddie's done his entire career. So kudos to him. Kudos to the Dodgers up until this point. I do think it's weird that there's a caveat, but I do think it's weird that there's all this animosity towards Aaron Judge for his World Series performance.
Okay.
You look at Shohei's numbers in the World Series, they're sometimes worse than what Aaron Judge is doing right now. But again, the caveat is Judge hasn't done it basically his entire career in the postseason. This is Shohei's first round in the postseason.
Yeah.
So it's just a little weird that there's, all this vitriol, I guess, being spit at Aaron Judge for his lack of, production. But then you look at Shohei and you go, his numbers aren't much better.
That's a very fair point. I think with the, World Series MVP campaign that Freddie Freeman is on and the rest of the entire Dodgers lineup, that kind of covers that up. And what is the best deodorant? Winning, right? Caveman Rick, that's a Caveman Rick quote there, and I really enjoyed that one. But, yeah, so you're not going to notice as much Shohei Ohtani and what he's going through when the Dodgers are winning. Much like last night, Aaron Judge wasn't really a big factor in the Yankees' win last night. He got a hit late in the game and knocked knock Soto in. But outside of that, I mean, the man of the evening last night was Anthony Volpe. And how cool is that for Volpe?
Oh, it's amazing for him. I mean, to be that young, I mean, you saw the stat. He was like the third youngest to hit a Grand Slam in the World Series.
Yeah.
Especially coming off the bonehead play when he's at second, right? You know, Austin Wells hits just a monster shot off the wall, and he doesn't score from second. So everybody's like, you know, we're down by 1 run. I think they were down by 2 at that point, and it was like that could have tied it or gotten to 2-1, and then Wells goes to third because Wells was hauling on that. And so then he goes to third, and then there's a sac fly that ends up scoring Volpe that could have scored Wells, which makes it a tie game, right? So long way to get there, but we got there. So for him to be able to step up and not only hit that Grand Slam in that moment, but then, you know, he turns around the next half inning, he makes a phenomenal play there at shortstop, almost gets the double play to end the inning. But review called it back. But, yeah, big moment for that kid. I mean, as much praise that was heaped on him last year as a rookie.
Right.
You know.
Had to battle through the sophomore slump kind of deal.
Yeah, there's that sophomore slump coming. And, again, it's New York. And he's a New York kid. He's from there. He's, you know, born and raised there, essentially. And so for him to be able to have that moment there in Yankee Stadium, man, like that. That's stuff he's going to be telling his grandkids and great-grandkids when he's 80, 90 years old.
And, I mean, you know, if he does
win or lose tonight.
Right, absolutely. That's and that's something that bodes well for the future of the shortstop position for the New York Yankees because it feels like they finally got that position replaced, rather. You know, the famous Derek Jeter, the captain of the New York Yankees. And it takes a while, especially in this sport. You know, we're talking about Shohei, 7 years in? This is his first World Series, first postseason experience. And Aaron Judge, you know, on the flip side of that, really hasn't had a lot of success in the postseason. And the Yankees in general, going back quite a few years, unless they're playing against the American League Central, they haven't had a lot of success. So we'll see how it continues. Do you think that we're going to Game 6 after tonight? Do the Dodgers win or do the Yankees win? What's your thoughts with Jack Flaherty on the bump for the Dodgers and going for the Yankees? Is the man that you would want in your final game in Yankee Stadium, right? You got to go Garrett Cole here.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers get it done. I think they go back to L.A. I think L.A. probably ends up getting it in Game 6.
Okay, so Dodgers in 6, all right.
But I do think that the Yankees get tonight done. But if the Yankees do end up having to go back to L.A. for Game 6, man, the pressure that's going to be on the Dodgers, because, I mean, we all saw the Yankees collapse against the Boston Red Sox, down, 3-0 and all that stuff. And then you start hearing, demons and stuff coming up. And, Dodgers fans are notoriously pessimistic.
Yeah.
I mean, and so for them, if it goes back 3-2 and there's a Game 6 and that game's tight, LA is going to be a rough city.
I would like to say, I think that this is one of those series that you want to get as many games out of it as you possibly can. Now, going into last night, I thought it was over. I just didn't see really any life that you want to see out of the Yankees. The bad base running has been something that's been an issue for them throughout the playoffs,
I'm used to seeing that. I'm a Reds fan.
That is what it is. But now we're in a position where did they score too many runs last night? How often do we see? And I know that you can never put that onus on it. Go ahead, Rick.
It's a bullpen game, man. Like, last night didn't matter. Like, who cares what happened last night? Tonight's going to show you what matters or not. I mean, people in New York can say, like, maybe the offense is coming alive now and whatever. Dude, like, again, look who you were pitched, going up against.
And the Dodgers pretty much punted last night.
Yeah,
we're not even going to use our best relievers.
So, because of that, last night was admiration at best right now, in my book.
Admiration at best. So what do you think? Dodgers or Yanks tonight here in Game 5?
I think because of last night and because of, the Mookie Betts play and the fan interaction, New York's behind it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you want to look at it good or bad, however you want to perceive, what happened last night, on whichever side of the fence you want to lean on or be on.
Well, probably closer to the side of Mookie Betts, I would imagine.
Yeah, but it's like fuel to the fire, for New York, man. New York's burning. So, because of that, I think the Yankees got the edge tonight. I would say they got their star pitcher, their number one guy, their ace on the mound, and then they got the like momentum from last night, and then they have that that moment, and I think because of that, like if that they have to do it tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
like,
yeah, I mean,
with all that going on too,
right.
like. This gives them a lot more of a better reason, I think, to win tonight than any other reason.
You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. You can call or text us 850-215-6290. We are also streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch. What do you got?
Really quick, I was just going to say the only thing that could probably get in the way of that, if you are a Yankee fan, I would probably think Boone. Like, if there's a way that they're going to screw it up and they're going to lose, even if they have the lead or something, he's going to do something. He's going to get tossed. Something's going to happen, and maybe that'll be the reason why.
Well, and he may have already done that, though, too, right? I mean,
in game one,
well,
right?
no, in game 4 last night. I mean, he had Luke Weaver's off the table tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he didn't really need to throw Luke Weaver last night. Is that what you're getting at?
He did, but I don't think he needed to go as far as he did.
Okay.
Right? I mean, he's essentially done. He's probably good since there's a day in between for Game 6, if there is a Game 6. But there is no Luke Weaver tonight. So you're going to see, a lot of responsibility and onus being put on, like Holmes, which has not gone well for the Yankees here lately. So it's scary sentiment, right? Which, everybody knocks on Boone and rightly so, for pulling Garrett Cole, early in the series. There's like 5 1/3, and then all of a sudden the floodgates open and Dodgers go crazy. I think this is the game where there's nothing else to play for. I think you see Garrett Cole maybe go 7.
Oh, over under 5.5 strikeouts. And then the same question for Jack Flaherty.
You asked me that before while we were off air, and I said under. But now that I'm thinking about it with no Weaver, I've had more time to digest and analyze. I think I'll go over that because I think he's 7 innings plus tonight.
If they have a lead, though, do you think they pull Cole? That way they can maybe use him for a Game 7 if needed?
You got to win now, man.
Yeah.
You're down. Your back's against the wall. There is no tomorrow if you lose. So I think you put all your chips out there and just let it ride.
It's going to be interesting, man. Game 5 of the World Series, Yankees and the Dodgers. Yankees win, we go to L.A. Dodgers win, it's over. The World Series is over, and the marathon of a baseball season will be ending. And now all of the other teams will be on the same page, looking forward to spring training, or really, I guess, when pitchers and catchers report. What do we think of the situation that went down in left field? Mookie Betts. Right field. Oh, my goodness. Right field, Mookie Betts going up to catch a foul ball. And it was on this side of the fence, but either way, right? Even if that ball is in the stands, do we is it okay then for the fans to wrestle with the players? What's your thoughts? What's your sentiment on that?
I think there's a line of demarcation there, right? And that line is that concrete barrier, right? Because we're not talking about a paper thin wall that's there. There's a concrete wall that's behind that padding that Mookie's, running into. If the fan is going straight up, it's like in basketball, right? Like you're going straight up, there's no over the back. Mookie has the opportunity to go into the stands and catch it from them, and that's fine. But once it's in the stands, the fans have a right to that ball just as much as anybody. Now, you get into the Steve Bartman thing, right? Where, the Chicago Cubs, and so you have to. So as a fan, there has to be awareness of the situation. This was like first inning, I think.
Yeah, first inning. Yeah,
right.
It was
so
early in the game.
At that point, it's like, okay, anything can happen. I mean, the Yankees ended up coming back to win 11-4, but know the situation, know what's involved, know what's happening, right? As a fan, and then kind of use that. But adrenaline gets going. Oh my God, there's a foul ball coming toward me. But what these guys did was absolutely egregious.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like this.
They could have broke his wrist the way that they had his wrist tweaked over the wall, and the way they had him stretched out, or if anything, ripped or tore a ligament or something. Rightly so.
We call that a Pittsburgh Steelers maneuver.
They got tossed, and the guy, claims that he knew he was going to get tossed, but he was helping his team and blah, 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 whatever. And now he's kind of a celebrity from what I understand,
signing autographs.
But it's the kind of thing, too, you kind of have to be aware. I mean, people go nuts over, just even getting a foul ball. Hell, I even complained about like a little kid not getting a ball and crying his eyes out, and then like an usher coming down 10 minutes later to give him a ball to stop him crying. Like, I mean, all we're doing is
Caveman Rick, like, baby.
We're reinforcing the bad behavior, you know what I'm saying? So, like, these fans think, you know, hey, the ball's over here and I want to bring something home, or look what I can post on Facebook and see how many likes I can get, because that's how some of these dummies want to keep score, you know? And, like, you just, because of that, you got to make stiffer, you know, I think penalties for that kind of crap so people don't get hurt. I mean, like, the way they were wrestling that ball out of Mookie's glove and stuff, I mean, think if that was you.
Tag teaming him,
dude, I would want to reach over that wall and punch him in the neck.
Yeah.
I ain't lying, you know?
I don't disagree with you on that one. And that's why I was saying, I agree with you that once that ball crosses that concrete barrier, once the ball is in the stands, I think that the fans have every right to go after that ball. However, if Mookie gets that ball in his glove,
possession's 9-10, Joe.
Yeah,
right. And again, that's what I'm saying. So as a responsible fan, you have to know the situation, right? So you see a guy coming in. I know personally, if it were me, I'm sitting there and I see a player that's basically coming into the stands.
But the Reds are in the World Series. Reds are in the World Series.
My first thing, though, is, number one, protecting myself and the people that I'm with.
Okay.
Right? And the first thing I do at that point is I hold people back.
Kind of like when you got to slam on
in
brakes.
case there's an impact, right? Because if Mookie's coming in, then, I mean, he's not a big guy, but he's still moving pretty quick at that point.
Right.
So, you know, you also try to brace him for his safety as well. So, like, my first instinct, I don't think would be to go for the ball. It would be to make sure that people were safe.
I think it's easier said than done, because we've seen the yahoos with the 6-month-old underneath their arm and they're going for a foul ball or something. And, you know, like I said, one of these days the foul ball is not going to maybe get caught, or maybe it does, but Junior slips out from underneath the arm, and you know what I mean? So people say a lot of things until that moment happens, and then, you know.
XO on YouTube says, laugh my what off? You know, he said, did he say punch him in the neck?
Exactly.
That's
right.
Definitely a Philly sports fan right there.
Absolutely. He signs autographs, according to Jimmy. Number one dirtbag. I'm not entirely sure if there's any validity to that, but I think if Jimmy's bringing it up, there's got to be.
I think in New York that's an honor, though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it is. The guy's name is Austin Capobianco, and the other guy was John Peter. So he's 38 years old. He was the guy who had the hands around the glove, and then the other guy, John Peter, is knocking it out. They went to a bar later. ESPN's Jesse Rogers ended up finding out that they were down there, and they were under the impression, like, they were told that they could come back for Game 5. And then today, MLB, I guess, intervened and got up with the Yankees and said, you can't let those guys
I
back.
heard they didn't say it was for sure. It's like they asked the Yankees is what I heard. So did the Yankees actually oblige the MLB? I haven't heard that.
Yeah, no, they're not allowed at the game.
Okay.
They are banned, at least for the rest of the postseason. And we have a comment here on YouTube who says that the fan, from Jimmy, that fan should be banned permanently. What do you think? What do you think the Yankees do moving forward? Because
I think you have to set a precedent,
permanently.
Right? Yes, because it's just like the streakers or the people that run onto the football field and all that stuff. Like, I remember I went to a Bengals-Packers game years ago in Cincinnati, and Brett Favre was still there with the Packers, if that, you know, gives you any kind of time frame here. And, you know, the Bengals are up, Favre's driving, fan runs on the field, literally grabs the ball from Brett Favre and takes off running down the field, and then he gets arrested after he gets tackled. Made some nice moves. Had like a spin move in there. He hit the circle button, and then the next day he pleads, you know, not guilty for it. But then Cincinnati, you know, they were like, no, you got to go. Like, you're not coming back to a Cincinnati Bengals game, and rightfully so, because
If it had happened in Philly like that, it would have been right there on the spot that next day.
Yeah, but it's like
the courthouse there.
Right. But it's like, I've heard some people say, well, you know, just don't let them get front row seats again. And it's like, what? That kind of defeats the purpose. Like,
I'm more under the, and because they wrestled it. It's not just the fan interference, but because you're wrestling with the player, then I can see you getting a permanent ban. But I think for streakers, for all of the things, unless you're like fully nude streaking, then that's going to bring you more trouble than what it's even worth.
Don't show them on camera. Don't put their names out, because all you're doing is encouraging it.
Well, it's giving them the infamy that they might be looking for. But my thing is, all right, first offense is a 3-year ban. Second offense is a 10-year ban, and then third offense, you're out for life. It's one of those things that's tough. And if I'm the Yankees, I want those kind of people in my stadium, though, like they're doing it for the home team. So, but it's also, that's not the fan etiquette that we need in the game of Major League Baseball.
Or if you're Caveman Rick or somebody of my ilk, you wear like some kind of costume or outfit, and you get into the game, and then when it's over, you say like, hey, look, I wasn't supposed to be here, but look, ha ha ha, I got past all your BS or whatever, and I got to watch the game. How about that?
With facial recognition these days, that is real tough. Jimmy says they could have hurt Mookie. If you do anything to possibly hurt a player, permanent ban. I definitely agree with that. We are going to go ahead and take a break so you guys can hear Banji Bamandela catch us up on what's been going on in high school football and sports in general, and then we'll also preview what's going on in most teams' final week of the season. Couple of injury notes. Connor McDavid out for 2 to 3 weeks with an ankle injury, and guess what? Lonzo Ball's season just started. He's out for 1 to 2 weeks with a wrist sprain. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida is your touchdown headquarters for the Mosley Dolphins and the Auburn Tigers. Plus, premier college and NFL games. Your source for the most live football on the Gulf Coast in a rich audio experience.
ESPN Northwest Florida. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Wednesday. The remainder of the day, mostly sunshine and 82 with a moderate breeze at 14 miles per hour coming out of the southeast. Tonight, a wind out of the east at 11 miles per hour and partly cloudy skies with lows around 69. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a gentle breeze and a temperature near 81. Moving into Friday, the same with a high of 81 and sunny. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
It's time to pick your path and go big, go bold. You can drive away in a new 2024 Telluride from Bill Bird Kia. The 2024 Telluride protects what matters, and it's built for the long haul. Its technology will connect with confidence, and upscale all-around rugged look will take you onto your next adventure. The road is yours. Bill Bird Kia, the home of that 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. 20-year, 200,000-mile warranties and Bill Bird Kia warranty.
If you spend any time at all in your yard, you're going to encounter fire ants.
We know they can ruin a party. That's why we're this area's experts at fire ant elimination.
As your certified top choice professional, we will rid your yard of these unwanted invaders. Brock Pest is so sure they will get rid of fire ants that they offer a 1-year guarantee.
Enjoy your yard fire ant free. We guarantee it. Give us a call for your free consultation.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control, our family protecting yours since 1968.
Auburn basketball returns November 6th.
Hardwell to the basket with authority. Unbelievable.
Bruce Pearl and the reigning SEC tournament champions are ready to take on the most challenging schedule in school history.
Right wing three, Denver. Yes! Big three. Tonight. Turn, shoot, good.
Catch all the action on your home for Auburn basketball.
ESPN Northwest Florida. War Eagle.
Takes, the latest trades, in-depth interviews.
That is my reaction.
We break it down for you right here.
Very big springboard for the rest of my career.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
That's the problem right there.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back. You're riding along with the Afternoon Underdogs, listening to ESPN Northwest Florida, your radio home for Mosley Dolphin football, 104.3. ESPN Northwest Florida, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. You can call or text us at 850-215-6290. We are going to have the game over there broadcasting in live from Tallahassee. Kickoff will be at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And Banji Bomadella joins us now to kind of catch up on all of the other high school games that have been going on and the games that we'll be previewing for this Friday. He's also going to join Coach Brian Haddad again on the high school pregame show from about 4:45 to 5:30. And man, we're very thankful to have you helping us out over this way. Banji Bomadella is the sports reporter, local sports writer here for the Panama City News Herald. We appreciate what you do, my man. And how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing great, man. It's been a nice couple of days with Bay County sports. It's been great. I'm doing great. How y'all guys doing?
Oh, we're doing great. Real quick comment here from XO. Imagine if it was Soto's hand being wrestled like they did Mookie's. Yankees would want that Dodgers fan on a death sentence, and I think that's a good point. What did you think of that situation from the fan last night, Austin Capo Bianco?
I was just thinking to myself, I was just like, if this was like a football stadium, that fan, immediate retaliation from opposing fans. But I feel like baseball, it's not as, do they fight in the stands in baseball?
Depends on where you're at.
Depends on the fans. The rivals,
Yeah, but I know like the Raiders fans, they will get at you. So I'm surprised.
49ers too, man. There's like fans that got stabbed and stuff in parking lots like after their games. Ain't like Philly. Everybody hates on Philly, but nobody talks about that kind of stuff over there.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a wild situation. You think the Dodgers or the Yankees get it done tonight?
Oh, Dodgers. I'm Freddie Freeman fan, so hoping the best for him.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I do have to agree with you on that. Maybe not as big of a fan as what I once was, but he's just such a likable guy that it's hard to root against him, that's for sure. And as long as he's going to keep on hitting home runs and cashing in bets for a lot of people, then that's a lot of fun. But let's dive into it, Banj. First, let's start with your power rankings update. Any change? We're looking at, I think, Mosley number 1, North Bay Haven 6,
Arnold 2, Rutherford 5, and then Bozeman 3, Bay 4.
I like how you kept up with the order right there, where it was like, all right, we'll start top and go by. There you go. All right, so not many, no changes to the power rankings. Then, well, let's dive into it. Bay and Rutherford, we're playing over there at Tommy Oliver Stadium on Friday night. I asked you for a score update at one time. I think it was 14-3 at the time that you sent me the update, and the final ended up being 21-13. What did you take away from that game, that clash of a rivalry here at in Bay County?
It was a clash indeed. I mean, it was chippy all game. At times, the worst thing that happened in a rivalry game is for a player to get tackled out of bounds on the opposing sideline because everybody surrounds him, and then you have to get some guys to get him out of there and stuff like that. But, I mean, overall, it was a great football game. I would say it was one of those where, when Rutherford isn't leading, Rutherford's playing catch-up, they excel. Their defense was lights out. I talked about it all week. Braylon Hurd, 5-7 on 6-7, Javar Bowden, he got an interception. And I'm just saying, it's one of those things where Rutherford had their chances, but they couldn't cash in late in the game. It was close at one point. It was I believe a 1-point or 2-point game at one point. So, I mean, they had their chances, but Bay's offense was too much, especially Chris Noble came in at the quarterback position. He just ran it 4 straight plays and got into the end zone. So, yeah, Bay's offense is still looking lethal. I believe it's going to help them definitely come playoff time.
Yeah. Who would you say the player of the game was in that one?
I would have to say Chris Noble because he's the starting defensive end, and when the starting quarterback John DeVos went down, he came in and closed out the game. So he had, I believe, like 8 quarterback pressures, 4 tackles for loss. So he was definitely a factor on both sides of the ball.
All right, we'll move on here to a big game for Arnold, right? They really needed to win this one, and it looked for a while like Rickards might come out on top there. But what did you take away from that game?
It's one of those things where, like Coach Griffin's been saying all year, the defense has been consistent and solid all year long, and they basically had to make a stop at the end of the game for Arnold to come away with the victory. And like he was telling me, he was like, Banji, he was like, calling victory formation is the best play call in all of sports.
There you go.
It's a certified. You've won the game. You've worked so hard. It's what you hope for when you play each and every Friday. So, I mean, shout out to them. They have the most wins since 2010. We all know how they went winless last year.
I was going to ask you, what's their record now?
7-3.
Wow. That's a huge turnaround right there.
Mm-hmm. Beyond huge. I've never seen anything like it because it usually takes a couple of seasons, but the fact that he did it in under a year is something that you can't replicate it. I don't think so, because it's such a big transition what he brought in, and you know what happened at North Bay Haven with the players leaving. He only ended up with 2 transfers, one lineman from North Bay Haven and another from Bozeman that came with him from Bozeman. So he did it with the guys who were already there. They recruited within the hall. So Arnold, they're looking at maybe a 5th seed in the playoffs. So, they could make some noise.
And they had to win that just to really get into the top 8 to hold on to a playoff spot. So getting there at 5, you're not necessarily going to host a playoff spot, I don't believe, right?
No.
But at the end of the day, hey, what's the whole goal, right? When you start out in the season, well, progress. I think when you go from a winless team that scored 12 points last year, you want to see progress. But to make that flip, as you mentioned, winless to 7 wins in a season, that's very impressive. So you got to give it up to Coach Griffin over there. Who was the player of the game for Arnold in that game?
I would definitely say it's their quarterback, Will Carter, because at the end of the day, he had to be the one to, get the offense going. He didn't have a great start, but then towards the end, similar how it's been all year, their second half team, towards the end there, he was able to navigate the offense, get them into the end zone.
North Bay Haven, they scored points. They scored points, right? It was 41-9, Bozeman all over them in that game. What was your takeaway from this particular game?
Bozeman, they're on a 3-game win streak. They are heating up, and they're heating up really well with the sophomore quarterback and Hayden Gay. I mean, I believe he had 4 touchdowns that game against North Bay Haven, and I mean, I was happy for both sides in a way because North Bay Haven, they hadn't scored any points since week 5. It was one of those things where we know what we're getting into when we come up to Bozeman. We know our guys are over there, who we are, but also feel happy for the guys like Lakota Johnson, who senior year, he goes from being a quarterback for 3 years at North Bay Haven, goes to Bozeman. He's now a wide receiver. He had over 100 yards receiving and scored. So, it's something where you're happy for all the players just because, like I said, it was like a familiar affair that everybody knew each other and stuff like that.
I thought you were going to say for the season to be over for North Bay Haven. So who was the player of the game in that one? I mean, we've been hearing about Lakota Johnson all year long. Did that trend continue in this particular game, or are we going to go with the new QB brother of Peyton Gay, Hayden Gay?
Hayden Gay for sure. He's, for a sophomore, it started a little bit shaky, but he's kind of found a rhythm and 3 straight wins.
Man, that's impressive, and that's a way to end the season. Is there playoffs for the Bozeman Bucks this year?
I don't believe so, but I mean, they do end the regular season. They have Bay this week, so hey.
That would be great for the strength of schedule, which is one of those things that when you got the similar record, that strength of schedule is really going to be the kicker for you. What about Port St. Joe? The Tiger Sharks winning 24-0, blanking the Pirates of Sneads there. What's your takeaway from that game?
I mean, it's something that they need.
Yeah.
It's something that a game like that, especially when Sneads is on a down year, getting a shutout like that at home, I mean, it just builds up confidence. It helps, it's what you hope for as a coach, is what you hope for as players to get that kind of victory, especially at home. So, I mean, just hats off to the Tiger Sharks getting that win.
What about the 9-0 Mariana Bulldogs? I don't know who they played last week, what the score was, but we've got to get, especially for our YouTube gang over here, on the bandwagon right now, we've got to get an update on Amari Clemens.
So Mariana played Holmes County.
Oh, that's right,
week.
Yeah.
And we know Holmes County is legit. Like they have a solid squad. In and out, they have a solid squad. But our guy Amari Clemens, he had what I would say is kind of like an off game in a way.
So only like 130 yards or something?
13 carries, 86 yards.
Okay.
2 touchdowns. Granted, I would say
it's pedestrian. Yeah. Come on, Amari.
I would say though, I mean, RJ Mays, Mariana's quarterback, he had 4 passing touchdowns. So I mean, it looked like they were trying to pass the ball a lot. But Amari's numbers as of now: 1,600 rushing yards, 29 rushing touchdowns, 3 receiving touchdowns. So
over 30 touchdowns this year, 1,600 yards. I mean, that.
And how many games left?
One regular season.
One regular season, and then do they count the postseason stats in the regular?
They do indeed.
Oh, what? And I think Derrick Henry still holds the state title for a season, right? Because I know he had single game for a while, and then Caleb Williams overtook him in the single game. But we can look that up. Man, but still impressive, right? To have that many yards throughout, and the season's not even over. And how many times has he played full 4 quarters of football?
Not that often.
And he's a junior?
Junior,
yeah.
So.
And he's got offers from all around the area, right?
Well, okay, so let me ask you this question. Now, I know it's a little different with football than it is a lot of other sports, but you see a lot of guys, move up, right? So, like, they go from they were a junior in high school, now they're playing as a freshman in college the next year. Like, right, they skip a grade, for instance. What does that look like in the realm of college football? Is that even a feasible thing? Like, could he
Ryan Williams, yeah.
Yeah. So I would say that for 1 out of every a million college football players, maybe you get those situations where they'll graduate early and then get on campus. I mean, there was another. I'm trying to think of who it was. I believe he's a running back in the NFL. I shouldn't be blanking on this, but there was another young man who played at 17 years old in college. But Ryan Williams, what he's doing right now is pretty impressive. Do you think that that's something that starts trending? I don't know. I think you have to be special to come to, especially the SEC level early.
Well, there's a physical maturity there, too.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because you see it often where guys reclassify in basketball because that's a less physically requiring game. And with Ryan Williams, he's a wide receiver. It's mostly speed, let's be honest. So you're not going to see an offensive lineman reclassify to go up, because a 17-year-old offensive lineman, I don't care how good or big or strong you are, when you're facing a Georgia defensive tackle, what? So, I don't know about trending upward like that. It could, but to me, it wouldn't be the right move.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the right move.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I guess Alabama's had a lot of 17-year-old college football players, though, because I'm looking at, and I don't know how valid this is, but Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, and Jamison Williams, this is an AI overview here, so it doesn't count.
That could just be where they fell as far as, like, their birthday versus when they could start
I was 17
school.
Starting college, too.
Like Amobi Okoye that played for Louisville years ago, he was drafted by the Houston Texans. He was drafted at 18 after playing 3 years of college football at Louisville. Just because he had skipped so many grades. Yeah, he was a 15-year-old freshman at Louisville playing defensive line.
Playing defensive
tackle.
That's insane.
But I don't even think of it like, I think about like academically. How has he gotten?
Both of his parents were doctors. He is now a doctor himself.
Well, there it is.
Yeah. He actually left the league. He ended up getting sick, and he was hospitalized. He was medically comatose for 6 to 7 months, I think. And then he comes out, and now I believe he is a doctor. But so incredibly bright young man.
Yeah, I think you got to be. Especially if you're coming from.
But he was also
parents are doctors.
But he was a monster human being, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Houston Texans drafted him, I think, first round at 18. So pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, to get into the league at 18 years old is absolutely something else. And then for the trajectory that your life takes to where you end up in a coma, essentially. And then you turned that into a victory by becoming a doctor and helping people go through similar situations. You got time for one more segment?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so before we do that, or before we start previewing the games for next week, give us an update on what went down with North Bay Haven Volleyball, or just kind of their playoff run to this point.
Oh, yeah, so North Bay Haven, they came into the season with only one senior, and they had a massive turnover in terms of their JV coach left. So Emerson Kabatu, he's the head coach there. He's in his third year. Last year, they made it to the Sweet 16. This year, I remember last night he was telling me the goal was just to get over or just to be at 500. Because, when you have not that much senior leadership and the kind of competition you're playing, goal was to be 500. So they actually ended up going 22-4 this season.
Wow.
And they made it to the Sweet 16. They played against Bulls. They beat Bulls in a 5-set thriller, and then they hosted Florida High last night. Lost the first 2 sets, won the third set, and then got within 2 points of winning the 4th set to force it to a 5th set. Man, when I tell you, like Sam Granville said, I've never heard North Bay Haven that loud before.
Really?
I don't know if it's maybe how their gym is built, but my ears were ringing because that student section screaming after every point, their bench screaming after every, when I tell you, you go to one of those games and you become a fan of that team because they suck you into the game. And it's something that, when I was talking about it to him post game, it was just like, he had tears in his eyes because he was just like, I didn't believe we were even going to be here. Like he said, he wanted just to be 500. So the fact that they were even there, the fact that he just accepted the fact that, we only had one senior. So then imagine the girls now become seniors. Right. Who knows what we can be next year.
Sky's the limit, right.
Sky's the limit. That's why I'm looking forward to next year of volleyball, man. It was great, man.
That is awesome. Maybe next week we'll find some time. Last week we kind of did a high school basketball preview for the boys side of things. Maybe we'll look at the girls next week. But we're going to take a quick time out. When we get back, we're going to preview the games that are going on this week. A little bit smaller of a slate since Arnold's regular season is over, Rutherford's regular season is over, but Bay and Bozeman could bring a lot of fun activity. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Quick time out. We'll be right back.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your home for the NFL.
Touchdown, Denver!
We bring you the biggest games every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night.
Oh, he's got the first down!
Plus, we'll broadcast more college football games than ever before.
He did what?
Live NFL and college football play here.
Unbelievable!
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Wednesday. The remainder of the day, mostly sunshine and 82 with a moderate breeze at 14 miles per hour coming out of the southeast. Tonight, a wind out of the east at 11 miles per hour and partly cloudy skies with lows around 69. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a gentle breeze and a temperature near 81. Moving into Friday, the same with a high of 81 and sunny. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been your portable building specialist since 1989. Before you invest your hard-earned money someplace else, owner Jason Mulder invites you to stop by Bestway and get a quote on just about any size building. And whether you buy with Bestway or not, it's worth the trip just to meet Bestway Buddy. Say hello, buddy. Good boy. Bestway Portable Buildings, just north of Harts Marine on 231, and online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. The best in portable, period. Tell them Buddy sent ya.
Pound the like and crush the subscribe. Follow us on social media for the latest sports news, scores, and updates. Keeping you in the game. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to ESPN Northwest Florida, your home for the Auburn Tigers. Coverage starts for Vandy and Auburn this Saturday at 10:45 for an 11:45 kickoff. And then I was told earlier we need to do whatever we can to get the Florida-Georgia game. So we will join the Florida-Georgia game in progress. I would imagine that the Auburn-Vandy game goes to about 3:15, 3:30. So we'll get you to late second quarter action for Florida, Georgia this Saturday. And, of course, we'll have a full slate of games on Sunday for the NFL. We're the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes, along with Adam Goff, also known as Fano, Caveman Rick, and our special guest each and every week, Banji Bomadella, who is the sports writer for the Panama City News-Herald and just becoming a great friend of the shows and a great friend of mine along the way. It's really cool how our paths have crossed, and you're going to go on to do great things, and everyone who reads your stuff, listens to you talk, absolutely knows that. Let's get into some of these
What he's saying is don't forget about us little people when you move.
That's kind of what, and I mean, that's actually literal, because I'm a lot smaller than Banji Bomadella there. But let's get into some of these game previews, and then I like getting your score predictions as well. So Mosley FSU High School, going to be over there in Tallahassee. It's going to be right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll get you to the kick at 6 p.m., but Banji will be helping Coach Brian Haddad preview all of the other games and this one as well, and then we'll get over to our pregame show at 5:30 with Robert Fleming and Kyle Wright. Mosley FSU High School, who's the player to watch for the Seminoles of FSU High?
I'll definitely say it's running back Tegan Hackett. I mean, he's already an 1,000-yard rusher. He also leads the offense with 8 rushing touchdowns. I would say he's going to be the force for them, because it's going to be one of those games where the line of scrimmage is going to determine who wins this one. But also, they have 2 defensive guys for the Seminoles, and I believe Gabe Miley and Noah Deem. Noah Deem has 13 sacks. Gabe Miley has 5 interceptions. So they have a defense that is capable of, getting turnovers, getting tackles for loss, potentially stopping the Dolphins offense. But in reality, I think Mosley's offense is too potent this year. 44 points a game on average. I think it'll be too much.
It's a lot of scoring. I've been saying touchdown Mosley Dolphins a lot this year. Let me ask you this though. So primarily they use the run game. Their quarterback does have 1,000 yards passing, but as you mentioned in the break, 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That ratio equals out to 0. Can you beat a team like Mosley with just the run game? Because we saw Niceville where the quarterback also, Johnny Lewis Jr. had wheels, right? But they shut down Connor Matthews. Is this a battle that FSU can win against Mosley with just the run game, almost seeming somewhat one-dimensional?
I don't think so, because with Niceville, quarterback and running back can run with Johnny Lewis. Florida High's quarterback, I checked his Twitter, and he often wears a brace on one of his knees. So I'm like, I don't think he prefers to run. So you can't keep up offensively with Mosley because they can attack you in several different ways. While Florida High, they're one-dimensional. They're probably, if they get a 3-and-out, more than likely Mosley's going to score. You get another 3-and-out, more than likely Mosley's going to score. Then you look up and you're down 28-0. You're like,
Just that quick, huh?
Man, it's probably been quicker in some games, hasn't it?
I mean, they 5 for 5, maybe 6 for 6 on their first possessions against Gulf Breeze, where it was just like, okay, well, can we run this clock a little bit faster, y'all? Can we go ahead and start it? Like, if you're down 42-0 at that point, and we haven't even heard the band yet, someone get a larger lady out there to start singing. You know what I mean? But who do we watch out for? Who's leading the charge in this game for the Dolphins?
I mean, it all starts with quarterback Sammy Freitas. He has been it's not even sneaky good, because we know how good they are, but he's been kind of underrated in this offense because only 3 interceptions this year? 20 touchdown passes. I mean, he's doing it all, and he loves to run, even though sometimes we're like, please slide. But I mean, he's the definition of dual threat, because he's also he's like, I think 3rd in rushing for them, but because we know the 2-headed monster of Sammy Chisholm, Lakavian Jackson. Always got to mention Lakavian.
And Shawnee Williams, though. Williams, I believe just a sophomore, might be a freshman, but I think it's a sophomore, and so is Sammy Chisholm. I'm very young, but Sean Williams, whenever, the starters come out and the depth players start rolling in there, he has been toting that rock. And also Kane Culver, which he's got 9 carries for 48 yards or something. And then one thing that just jumps off the stat sheet to me is Jack Massey's only had 1 carry this year. I believe one carry for Jack Massey and one catch, one reception for Raiden Bruins, provided that the stats that I'm looking at are correct. And Mosley does a wonderful job at keeping their stats legitimate. So, that surprised me that because Raiden Bruins, they run that 3 tight end set quite a bit. And he's just up there blocking like an offensive lineman. He does a great job. But then you got Fletcher Taylor and Adam Land over there doing their thing. So Sammy Freitas is going to be the Dolphin to look out for. What about on the defensive side of the ball?
Very good question, because, when it comes to stopping the run, I mean, you could think of Big Chig in the middle. You could think of Raiden, but I definitely say it's going to be Sawyer Schultz. He's the main linebacker who, every play, I always see him get active, get back there. So he's definitely going to be the guy. He leads the team in tackles, I believe, with like 86 or something like that. So he's going to be the guy that they're going to have to watch out for and key in on.
All right, score prediction. What does Mosley win, and if so, by how much?
I'm going to be fair.
All right.
Mosley by 28.
Okay. All right, so we might not have a running clock. We'll find out.
42-14, right?
42-14, is that? All right.
Something like that.
So getting close to their average on points per game, and they normally don't give up too many points along the way. So I like that, though. I'll take plus 28. I'll take minus 28, rather. Right. I like them to cover that. Hard Rock, when you get to the high school sports bet, and let me know. Bozeman and Bay, what do we like from this game? Player to watch for the Bay High Tornadoes.
I'll definitely say player to watch, because it definitely depends. I'd definitely say MJ Wilkerson, because last week against Rutherford, he was a train at the running back position. He was always there extending plays. I think Bay tried to run it. They would run it first down, second down, and then maybe do a pass on third. But he is the guy that he scored the opening touchdown in that game, and he's the guy that he'll milk the clock and he'll get you those extra yards. And the key for them really is to no turnovers and be able to extend drives, because they scored 14 points quick in the first quarter and didn't score until the fourth quarter. So their offense can't stall. That's something, because Bozeman will take advantage of that. So as long as they are, having lengthy drives, running that clock, I believe they could be successful.
How about Bozeman? Who's the guy to watch? We talked about Hayden Gay earlier. Is it Lakota Johnson? Who helps the Bucks win this ball game?
Well, it's definitely going to have to be Hayden Gay, because, it's a great matchup, because it'll be potentially two sophomore quarterbacks going at it.
All right.
And when you have young quarterbacks, it's not saying a turnover is inevitable, but it's more than likely with young quarterbacks, they make decisions where you're just like, he's young. So it's definitely going to see which quarterback is going to be able to, maintain possession and be successful. And I think Lakota Johnson and Hayden Gay, because Lakota Johnson also gets to use that quarterback, so that's also another trick up their sleeve. But I do believe Hayden Gay, they have team to team, they have probably similar to equal kind of weapons on the outside. You have the Colton McClellans, you have Lakota Johnson, you have, John Hanson, you have different kind of receivers out there, and they have lengthy receivers as well. So, I mean, as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, they should be good on offense. I see this as maybe a high-scoring game.
Sneeds and North Bay Haven. Oh, wait. High-scoring game, which means score prediction. What do we got here?
This one, another tough week. I have Bay by 3.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, Bay by 3. And this is at Tommy Oliver's in Southport.
Tommy Oliver.
So Bay hosting Tommy Oliver Friday night, man. If you're in town, go get you a radio, listen to the Mosley game, and watch the Bay and Bozeman game. And then if you do see Banji Bomandela there, make sure that you tell him hello.
You can't miss him.
You can't miss him. And he's always got a great lid on, man. And
a smile too. I mean,
there you go. But I'm a hat connoisseur myself, so when I see, I love the Crayola hat that you wear. You got the Vans hat on today. But Sneeds and North Bay Haven, can North Bay Haven sneak a win out to finish the season, or do the Pirates take care of business?
This would be as good of a chance as they'll get from all year. Last week should be something motivating them. They saw points get on the board, which they hadn't seen in over a month. So I definitely think that they have a fighting chance in this one. Sneeds, though, I think offensively Sneeds will overpower them because they have a running back of their own. I believe Pius Jones, who he leads their offense. He has, I think, 6 rushing touchdowns on the year, over 600 yards rushing. it's hard to say. It's one of those where it's like I want to root for North Bay Haven, but
you can root and still go with your mind pick, though, right?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I
have to. It's my job.
I was like, I want to be realistic here. I care about my prediction record, right? But it'll just. I'm trying to be careful here. They'll be happy when the clock finally ends and the season's over. I think over there at North Bay Haven. So, yeah.
Oh man. So what would your score prediction be here in this game, and then give us a player to watch for North Bay Haven?
Respectfully, I predict Sneeds by 21, and and I hope Caleb Kristoff on the offensive end at running back. I hope he gets off and has a great game, and then also defensively he's a middle linebacker, so I hope he has a great game.
All right. Well, we talked about the other games in the previous segment, but we didn't get to one of my favorite things that we talked to you about. Who was the Bangie's baller of the week last week?
I would say it's Sammy Freitas.
Okay.
Sammy Freitas, 4 touchdowns, and he's been doing this sometimes in only the first quarter. Might not even be the second quarter because they're already up by 4 or 5 touchdowns. He's been stable all year, and he's my baller of the week.
The backup quarterback, J.P. Holstenbach, has gotten a lot of play this year, which bodes well for the future. But yeah, Sammy Freitas this year has been tremendous in the first half, and sometimes we get to see him in the fourth quarter, but it doesn't look like we'll see much of him in the fourth quarter, provided that your prediction is right. And from what I've learned from you so far this season, Banji,
all my mostly predictions have been right.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So the Bangie's baller of the week is Sammy Freitas. We've got about a minute and some change left here. How far do you think Mosley can go in the playoffs this year? What's the floor? What's the ceiling for him?
I definitely think the floor is third round. I believe because they'll be hosting, I believe, the first 3 rounds of the playoffs. So
okay, I like the travel schedule for that one.
At minimum, I believe Final Four.
Okay.
At minimum. I mean, ceiling, state champion.
And let's go.
Honestly, because we haven't seen it from teams around here or just teams in general all season. We haven't seen them be able to stop them offensively and defensively. They're dogs. So I think Mosley, no lie, I believe Mosley Final Four minimum.
All right, man. You heard it here first from Banji Bomadella. Make sure that you're keeping up with his content. Just go to the PanamaCityNewsHerald.com, click on high school sports, and you've got a wealth of information on there. A great write-up on the North Bay Haven. We talked about North Bay Haven volleyball. I read that earlier, which is what keyed me in on, asking the question. Do we have a quick update on what's going on with the marching band vote, or are we still...
The marching band vote actually ended on Tuesday, and I have a story coming out on Friday.
So we'll wait.
Friday morning.
Oh, yeah. So we'll talk more about that next Wednesday, and I'm sure that he'll find a way to sneak that in with Brian Haddad this Friday. Keep up the great work, Banji, and we will chat with you next Wednesday, my man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You guys are riding with the you guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Bandwagon is about to turn into the Barbarians, I think.
Barbarians,
So Morgan's coming up next. We're going to make our picks. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, tuned into ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're the radio home of the Mosley Dolphins.
Your 9-0 undefeated district champion Mosley Dolphins travel to 6-3 Florida State University High School. Kickoff Friday at 6 right here. Mosley Dolphin football on ESPN Northwest Florida is sponsored by Panama City Toyota, Orthopedic Specialist, and Chapman Wealth Management.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Wednesday. The remainder of the day, mostly sunshine and 82 with a moderate breeze at 14 miles per hour coming out of the southeast. Tonight, a wind out of the east at 11 miles per hour and partly cloudy skies with lows around 69. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a gentle breeze and a temperature near 81. Moving into Friday, the same with a high of 81 and sunny. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Are you tired of hearing 2 weeks when you call to get your boat worked on? Hey folks, it's Chris Kramer with Kramer Marine and Outdoor, and we'll get you in and back out on the water as quick as possible. We're a full-line Yamaha outboard dealer and Suzuki outboard dealer, and we have master-trained certified mechanics on site. So if it's just an annual service, electronics install, trolling motor install, all the way up to a full repower, we can take care of you. So stop by and see us in the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd next to Bill Kramer GM, or call us at 850-851-0453.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
WVLQ Point St. Joe, WGSX, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's hour number 2 of the Afternoon Underdogs right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. The NFL plays here. We've got some great games on tap for you. Sunday Night Football will be the Colts and the Vikings. 6:30 coverage starting for a 7:15 kick. What do you think about Joe Flacco being the starter, AG?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the right move if you're the Colts. I mean, you look at, AR in Indianapolis. You look at Bryce Young in Carolina. Both of those teams are going to be looking to quarterback again this draft. So I think it's the right move, especially coming off of what he said in the press conference about I was tired. And you hear people talking about, well, that's this generation of kids. And it's like, exactly, that's the point. Most people given that opportunity, at least from my generation, your generation, K-Mans, and I know it's about 20 years to my junior or whatever, but
oh man, I'm only 47. Come on, man, I ain't that old.
But none of us would ever come out and say that, even if that were the case. Like, it's not leaving our mouths, right?
I'm not even coming out of the game if I'm tired.
But hear what Tyler said yesterday. He made a good point. He was doing that, putting his team first and not putting him in his stats. And how many times do we see people just want the ball, even if they're out there falling on their face? And he was out there saying, maybe hit the wall. He's legitimately tired and stuff. And how we're saying, I think they're better off with Flacco.
If he, did cause, if he stayed in the game right there and then throws an interception or whatever, but golly, just have coach audible to a run play.
Right, hand it off.
Hand it off, and then you're right.
You got this guy named Jonathan Taylor.
He's all right, He's all right. At 5:20, Texas A&M update with Morgan Hilliard. But for now, we're going to make our picks, and then hopefully at 5:40, you got some great stuff from the world of social media for Mo Notes.
I have great things for you always.
All right, so let's dive into it. Caveman Rick, AG, and Morgan are going to be making their picks. I'll make my picks tomorrow afternoon with Leanne. And James, number 4, Ohio State, traveling to Happy Valley to take on number 3, Penn State. As of yesterday, this was a 3.5-point dog for the Nittany Lions. 45.5 is the total points. What do you like in this one, AG?
This is a complete trap game for Ohio State.
Okay.
They've not been playing well for whatever reason, but Penn State, just Franklin, until he proves that he can win one of these games, Ohio State, Michigan, the USC game earlier this season, I've still got to go Ohio State on the road.
All right. Mo?
I'm so torn between these two, honestly. I would like to also take Ohio State.
All right, and Caveman Rick.
This is tough, man. You know what? I'm going to take Penn State, even though we're not picking with the points. Ohio State's been kind of struggling. Ryan Day looking like he got a hot seat. He might not be there too long. So, hey, if they lose this game, he might be on the out soon. Give me Penn State at home. I don't know if it's late. It might be a whiteout.
It's an 11 a.m. game.
Oh, is it? Okay. So,
if this was night game up there, yeah, that might be a different story.
Yeah, that's a
still
good
let me
point.
get Penn State. I'll take them.
They did paint new end zones.
Penn State did?
Yes.
What do they got going on?
I don't know. There was just a little clip of it was 10 seconds and it said coming soon, and you can see them putting something new in and filling it in, and it all blurs out. So maybe end zones will be the winner. I don't know.
I like that.
Quick
like
question.
that take, yeah.
No pink today?
I am not wearing pink
Laundry
today.
day?
No.
Is that what's going on? Everything's in a hamper?
I feel like I broke like one of my cardinal rules today. Today is the first day in over a year that I have not worn pink on a Wednesday, and I feel like not myself, but felt like the black fit our blackout game, blackout win, and then maroon pants. Like, couldn't go wrong. Had to flex A&M just in a professional kind of way.
Oh, Jimmy on YouTube says, I want to see Ohio State lose. Give me Penn State.
I like that. I mean, I'm always fine with Ohio State going down. I'm really excited now to see the end zones, and I think it's going to be a great game. And, I mean, the trap game almost felt like last week for Ohio State when they almost fell to Patrick Mahomes Jr. and Nebraska, yeah. Moving on here to Duke at number 5, Miami. Miami needs to cover 21.5 points. Duke played well with SMU last week, and Miami took care of business against Florida State with a 22-point victory. What do we like from this one, AG?
Miami is still one of those teams that, yeah, they're 5th in the nation. Great offense. Cam Ward is probably your Heisman front runner at this point, him and the kid out of Boise State, G&T. But there's something about this team that I feel like once they get to the playoff, which I think they're going to make it, they're just going to get railroaded. I think they're just going to get blasted, whomever they play. So they win this game because it's Duke, but I think Duke covers.
All right. Morgan?
I'm also going to pick Miami just because I'm sorry, did you?
I picked Duke.
Take
I'm
Duke
sorry.
with the 21.5 points.
Yeah, I picked
You're
Miami to
picking
win.
Duke with cover. Okay,
But
got
Duke
it.
covers.
Sorry.
You don't, yeah.
Lights are on, I swear. I wasn't watching the TV or anything. I wasn't watching what's happening over there, and I was totally listening. I'm going to take Miami just because I'm still pushing the narrative that the ACC has to have someone.
All right. But we're not just talking about winning, though.
Covering
Miami's got to
21.5.
win by 22.
Yes.
Okay. Caveman Rick?
Yeah, give me Duke with the points.
All right. Ole Miss, Arkansas. The Arkansas Razorbacks hosting the Rebels here, and Arkansas is +7, and the total sitting at 53.5, but we're not using the point spread for this one. This is just a straight-up pick. AG, your thoughts for this game?
Jimmy says Miami to win, Duke to cover, just like myself. I hate this game. I do. The Ole Miss Arkansas game, because no matter who I pick, I'm going to be wrong.
Okay.
Every time I pick Arkansas, they lose. Every time I pick their opponents,
so I need to pick opposite of whatever you do.
But then the same thing can apply with Ole Miss, right? I mean, every time I think Ole Miss is going to be toast or they're going to, run away with one, they lose to Kentucky at home. So it's like I don't know what to do here. I wish they could tie.
We just won't play the game. How about that?
There's
we'll
like
do
a
it.
game that says, I hope both teams lose.
Yeah,
I feel
right.
like AG.
Yeah.
Right. Give me Ole Miss. I hate it, but give me Ole Miss.
Man, he really summed it up, though. I really hope both of them lose. Ole Miss, I'm just not sold on it. TikTok Lane Kiffin team. And then also Arkansas beating Tennessee at home with a crazy win. And, oh, God. Also, I'm going to just go for the other side of the box. Give me Arkansas.
There you go.
All right. Caveman Rick.
Give me Ole Miss.
All right, we'll go to Vanderbilt and Auburn. Auburn, this game will be right here on ESPN Northwest Florida coverage starting at 10:45 for an 11:45 a.m. kickoff. Auburn's a 7-point favorite. I find that hard to believe, but they played very well last week, but so did Vanderbilt in that 3-point loss to the Longhorns of Texas. 48.5 points is your total. AG, what do you like from this game? As Jimmy says, Ole Miss wins and covers. I figured that's where you was headed next.
I think we saw a different Auburn team against Kentucky. That's a good defensive team in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And Auburn was able to put up some points on them. I believe it was at Kentucky, right? I was on the road. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was at Kentucky. I don't like it because I like what Vandy's doing. I think it's exciting. I think it's good for football.
I love it. Even if one of their wins is against Bama.
One of their wins is against Kentucky, too. So
yeah,
I'm happy with that.
Hey, look, we're Vandy brothers.
Right, there we go. But give me Auburn.
That's not.
Give me Auburn at home.
Is Vandy brothers a thing or something?
I don't know. I'm going to take Vanderbilt.
Okay.
I'm going to take Vandy just because I still want to see them pull it off. I think they have a great run right now. And I was really disappointed that they didn't beat Texas. But you know what? They lost with grace.
Hey, they did, and they held Texas to 6 points in the second half, which I think bodes well for the final game of the season for the Aggies this year, right? I mean, at least you get a little bit of a blueprint 2 weeks in a row on what it takes to beat Texas and the Longhorns. Caveman Rick.
This game's going to be in Jordan-Hare. It's going to be November, so give me Auburn at home.
All right, Jimmy says Vandy in a close one. Next up, we've got Oregon and Michigan in Michigan here. Michigan's getting 14.5 points, and the total sitting at 45.5. AG, what do you like from this game?
Oregon's basically blowing everybody out, and so Vegas is...
And they did not start the year out like that, though.
But Vegas is sitting there going, here, take your 14.5 points. Yeah, we'll give you 14.5 points. Give me Oregon to win, but I think Michigan covers. Because if you look at the way this Michigan team plays, they like to keep it close. They try to go on, these long drives, and it's kind of the same playbook they had with USC. No, I'm not saying USC and Oregon are even on the same playing field,
or planet
at this point, but you can see that there's strategery happening there with Michigan, and they're at home. So give me Michigan to cover.
Morgan.
I want Oregon to win for sure. Duh. Fits my narratives.
Which narrative would that be?
Yeah, I love their uniforms. They have the best uniforms, and I think they look great all the time. I just am not completely sold on Michigan still, even though they are keeping it close. I just don't think they're fantastic, but I do think they cover.
All right. Rick.
Yeah, I got Oregon. I think a lot of times they got some cool uniforms. Not all the time because they have too many choices. Sometimes they're just god-awful, but, give me Oregon.
Jimmy says Oregon wins and covers. Michigan not playing that great this year. As we move to a game that we will join in the middle of, that's Florida at number 2, Georgia. Georgia's needs to cover 16.5 points here in a big-time rivalry game. Florida's been playing a little bit better throughout the year. Napier possibly still coaching for his job. We'll figure out as we move along through the really tough portion of the schedule that the Gators are about to have to go through. The total is sitting at 52.5. AG.
This game's still in Jacksonville?
Yes, for this year, and I
Cocktail
believe
party,
maybe next year, and then 2026, it's going to be in...
It's going to alternate, didn't he say, between...
Yeah, Georgia, they're going to be at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and then in 2027, they'll be in Tampa, and then 2028, they'll be back in Jacksonville at Everbank.
Okay. Thanks for that wealth of information.
Yeah, I feel like I'm reading Twitter posts in my head.
That's how I feel all the time.
I think Georgia covers here. I don't think it's close. I think the talent on the field there's a huge disparity there. I know it's a rivalry game, but I think Georgia runs away with this one.
Georgia, all day. Go Dogs.
Yeah, I got Georgia, too. I don't look at the Twitter when I want my college football information. Here on Tuesday, listening to Tyler.
Hey, there you go. Let's go to number 13, Indiana, taking on Michigan State. The Sparties are hosting this game. They're a 7.5-point dog. Total sitting at 51.5. Jimmy says Georgia wins and covers. AG starts us off with Indiana and Michigan State.
Hoosiers. There you go, Max. Just for you, buddy.
All right, we're going to keep it short and sweet there. What do you have in this game, Morgan?
Short and sweet. I also have Indiana.
All right. None of you guys showing any love to the Hoosiers here. I guess Hoosiers. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm not down with what's his name, Nasser, Michigan State. So give me old Indiana.
All right, number 13 in the land and sitting at 8-0 for the first.
We don't pick on just certain schools. Pick on everybody.
Yeah, there you go. Number 10. What's that team? How do you pronounce that? Oh, Texas A&M. Texas A&M taking on South Carolina in Columbia. The Gamecocks 2.5-point dog here. Total sitting at 44.5. AG, lead us off.
I think Texas A&M has it rolling, and they keep it rolling. South Carolina's a darn good football team. Even though they're on the road, I think it's going to be a tough environment there in Columbia. But give me Texas A&M.
Boston Sam texted in. He said, just like Max, short and sweet. Go Hoosiers. Oh, man. Love you, Boston Sam. Hopefully you are doing just fine. Can't wait to see you again. Morgan, who do you have?
You already know who I have. Never bet against him.
Okay, she's going Gamecocks if you don't mind.
Are you kidding me?
Who do you have?
Texas A&M.
Oh, okay.
You already know that.
I didn't know that.
I just said you already know who I have.
I know, but I forgot. Caveman Rick, who do you have?
Max says Columbia is not so safe around there. Maybe it needs some military presence. Going with A&M.
All right, we'll go to Louisville and Clemson. Clemson hosting here. They've been silently turning their season around ever since the Week 1 loss to Georgia. They're number 11 in the land, and they need to cover 11 here as the spread is minus 10.5 for the Tigers. And the total's sitting a little high there at 61.5. AG.
Jimmy on YouTube says Indiana spanking party and A&M if they start their backup QB.
Marcel Reed.
Marcel.
This game, man, you know what my heart wants to say. It wants to say Louisville's going to win. I don't think
that's why I put this on the slate.
I don't. With the way that we've been playing defensively, we have no answer, even for Clemson in their offense, which has gotten better over the year, but throughout the course of the year. But I don't think it's a world-beating offense. The problem is we're not going to be able to score on their defense the way we did against Miami. So I think Clemson covers here. I hate it, but I think Clemson covers.
Clemson.
Morgan, Clemson.
Last time I picked AG's team, they severely embarrassed
Let
me.
you down.
I'll never do that again.
What do you remember? What game that was? Was it against Miami? Maybe.
Oh, no, it wasn't. I don't remember what game
Probably
it was.
SMU.
I don't remember what game it was, but
That might
last
have
time
been.
I picked them, it had to be the last time that they were actually on a sheet. I'm sorry, AG.
I wasn't here the last 2 weeks, so I have no clue.
but you did have the sheet, though.
Yeah, but I mean, like, when I'm looking at that, I'm not diving through it.
Right,
you know.
100%. Caveman Rick, who do you have in this game?
Yeah, give me Clemson, Death Valley at home.
All right, final game here. Pitt having another one of those teams that's having a great season who doesn't really get talked about a lot. Syracuse, honestly, was having a great season, and then Pitt just waxed them last Friday, I believe it was. SMU as well, kind of just maintaining. They get a 1-point road win against Duke in a very fantastic finish, right? Blocking the field goal as time expired and then winning in overtime. SMU's a 7.5-point favorite, but we're picking this one straight up. Number 18 Pitt at number 20 SMU. AG.
Jimmy says, give me Louisville. Love you, Jimmy. I appreciate that. Just because this game is in Texas, give me SMU. I feel like this is going to be one of those kind of slugfests. I think there's going to be some nice offense, but I think whichever team's defense makes a couple more stops is going to be the team that's able to kind of move away from that 3-point block field goal kind of situation, right? So SMU does have a really good offense. Pittsburgh does have a good defense, but this game's in Texas, so give me SMU.
Morgan?
Respect SMU. Got it.
Got it.
Yeah, I think SMU's not going to give up 6 turnovers again, so give me SMU.
All right, we'll move to the NFL games here. Thursday Night Football right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Cover starting at 6:30 for a 7:15 kick. Texans at the Jets. Jets are a 2-point favorite, actually. I've got that spread mixed up there. The Jets are a 2-point favorite. Yes, the Texans just lost Stephon Diggs, but total sitting at 42.5. AG, what do you think about this game?
This game is interesting because you've got 2 really, really good cornerbacks in New York, and then you have Tank Dell and Dalton Schultz, and then obviously you have Joe Mixon, who's had a really, really good year when he's played. This is one of those games that everybody wants them for Houston to win, just because it's like, to smite Aaron Rodgers and the Jets organization for what they've done to this team and everything. Give me the Jets. I'm not comfortable with it, but it's at home, short week. Give me the Jets.
Morgan?
I want the Texans.
Caveman Rick.
This one's tough right here. Because it's on Thursday night. It's at home. Give me the Jets.
All right, we'll go to the Chargers and the Browns. Can Jameis Winston keep the magic going? AG, Chargers or Browns?
Jameis Justin. Give me Jameis.
Oh, the scales of AG. Morgan, what do you got?
I want the Browns.
Okay.
Myles Garrett, respect.
All right, there you go. And
AG's over here weighing quarterbacks. I'll weigh the head coaches. Give me Harbaugh and the Chargers.
I'm thinking defensive lines, though.
You just got left out of the equation.
Yeah, I just got left out.
Myles Garrett. So you need to go Myles Garrett. Anyone else? Myles Garrett, Bosa. There you go. Lions Packers. This game's going to be the 3 o'clock window game, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, provided Jordan Love plays. Lions Packers, AG.
Dude, honestly, even with Malik Willis playing, they're still putting up points.
Yeah, I mean, they have been. I
think you hammer the hell out of the over in this one, because I feel like this game is going to be a slugfest in the way of like just quick scores. Because I mean, we've seen it from Gibbs. We're watching him right now on TV.
Yeah.
We've seen it from Gibbs. We've seen it from Laporta. We've seen it from Amon-Ra St. Brown. Khalif Raymond is playing really well right now.
Yeah, like 6 players score a touchdown last week.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, David Montgomery is that battering ram.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, you've got Josh Jacobs, who's been resurgent. You've got Jaden Reed. You've got, Romeo Doubs has come back from suspension and looked like an all-world wide receiver. Yeah, give me Detroit, man. I just think they're too much. Even if it is Jordan Love in there, I still take Detroit, but give me Detroit.
Yeah, I love it. The nickname for Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery is Sonic and Knuckles. What do you got?
For my good friend TK, I want the Lions.
Shout out TK. What do you got?
I thought they were going to go Sonic Boom, but this one's tough, man. Because like AG's saying, he's going to hit, he wants to pound the over. And I think that's what Vegas wants you to do. And this being like a rivalry type game and in division and stuff like that, I think it might be a little low scoring, but I'm going to say the Lions win in a close one.
All right.
Have you seen the video where they're putting the little gold rings there on the field and Jahmyr Gibbs is like capturing them? And
I haven't seen that.
It's pretty funny. They're starting to do it. Like, I think they started it in the stadium.
I'm going to go to the Morgan's website.
And it's pretty funny. Jimmy says, even with Texans' top 2 wide receivers out, they still win. Chargers in a low-scoring run game. And then he has Lions in a great shootout. Colts-Vikings, this is Sunday night. I think the Vikings are just too much for them, man. I mean, I think the offense for Indy is a lot better, but the Vikings offense is pretty legit, and their defense doesn't get talked about enough either. So give me the Vikings.
All right. Morgan, who do you have?
I want the singing guy.
I'm watching the video right now, by the way, AG.
Isn't that funny?
Yes, that is pretty daggone cool.
I don't think they're actually going to win, but I really want the singing guy just because I want him to keep singing. You saw the video.
Yeah, I have.
Finally.
I know what you're talking about.
The Colts guy, right?
Yes. Wasn't that the funniest thing?
Yeah, these are our Colts. Da, 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 da.
I'm not going to sing on air. I would love to do the horse Winnie, but I don't know. If you haven't seen that video, please go look for him. Oh my God.
Yeah, he gets down with it. Caveman Rick, who you like in this game?
In this game, actually, I'm going to take Joe Flacco and the Colts, and I'm thinking maybe that the whole Kirk Cousins primetime thing, he's gotten Atlanta. He's kind of righted the ship in his last handful of games and stuff. And I'm thinking maybe it's more of a Vikings thing with Kirk Cousins, or not a Kirk Cousins thing.
Vikings thing,
in the primetime. So I'm going to take the Colts.
Yeah. All right. We'll see about that. And then Monday Night Football, which will be right here on ESPN Northwest Florida as well, with coverage starting at 6:30. The Bucs at the Chiefs. And the Chiefs, this is our first NFL game of the year that we're going to use the spread. Chiefs got to win by 8.5 points here. AG.
Jimmy says Vikings demolish the Colts. This game is interesting because you've got a Tampa Bay defense that doesn't give up a lot in the run game, which is pretty much the entire offense for Kansas City, because Patrick Mahomes has 8 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. But the Buccaneers have no wide receivers. Between McMillan and Shepard, that's about it. They have 3 great running backs.
Yeah.
Right? So this game is more of like a battle of attrition, which is kind of weird to say with Kansas City being there undefeated, but I think Kansas City blows them out, honestly, because I feel like even though they're not going to be able to run the ball, I think this is the game where you see Patrick Mahomes come out firing.
These are our Chiefs. No.
First of all, Mom, I see your comment right now, and you're welcome.
Oh, that's your mom?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's my mom.
Shout out to you, Stacy. Appreciate that.
You're welcome from sparing you from my singing because I know you hear it enough. Anyways, Baker Mayfield does not beat Patrick Mahomes in this game. There's no way. He cannot throw him.
All right. There you go. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I got
Next
the
time,
Chiefs.
sing your answers.
I think Bucks going on the road, going to Kansas City. We're getting into November now. You got a Florida team. Give me the Chiefs on prime time at home.
All right, you guys riding with the afternoon.
Real quick, Jimmy says Bucks win straight up, and he asked about Mike Evans, but I think Mike Evans is still out till November 22nd.
Yeah, he's got at least 2 more weeks, I believe, of being out. Chris Godwin, obviously, with a dislocated ankle, will be out for the remainder of the season. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Coming up next, Morgan is going to break down the Texas A&M game and what's ahead for the Aggies. We'll be right back.
Football. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Coach Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers will try to fend off Diego Pavia and the Vanderbilt Commodores. Tune in for live play-by-play from Jordan Air Stadium. Coverage starts Saturday at 10:45, kickoff at 11:45. It's Vandy at Auburn on your #1 destination for college football and the Auburn Tigers. ESPN Northwest Florida. War Eagle.
Good evening. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Wednesday. Partly cloudy skies tonight with a gentle breeze at 11 miles per hour coming out of the east-southeast, and look for the low to be 71. Tomorrow morning, there will be some sun with the temperature reaching 79. Mostly sunny in the afternoon and evening with a high of 82. Friday will have a high of 82 and sunshine. This weather is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Hey folks, Chris Kramer with Bill Kramer GM. And the best place to listen to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is inside a brand new vehicle from Bill Kramer GM. And I want you to know we've got 10 times the amount of inventory on the ground as we did this time last year, and darn near all of them are discounted. So shop us online at BillKramerGM.com or visit us the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd. We'll make it easy and take great care of you.
He listens to Post Malone. He drives a Honda with ground effects and has Pennsylvania tattooed on his right tricep.
You're looking at a bad man.
David Hayes is part of the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We're back, and the boys are back in town, but we are led by the great Morgan Hilliard, who's going to tell us about the greatest football team to ever take the field, the Aggies of Texas A&M. Tell us, by the way, we are your home for the Auburn Tigers here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Coverage starting at 10:45 for an 11:45 in the morning kickoff on Saturday, and then we'll get you to the Florida-Georgia game Saturday afternoon. But what's going on in your mind whenever you're watching that game and LSU looks like they're kind of taking command of the game, then Connor Wegman gets pulled, they throw Marcel Reed in, and one play later, touchdown Aggies, and it did not seem to stop from there.
First of all, wow, I've been waiting all day to just let this information flow. I'm so excited. I had to draw
Here we go. I'm going to take a break.
Yep. I had to draw an X on my paper to remind myself to keep it together. I'm so excited.
Keep the lights on.
Yes. Oh, my God. Before I start rambling, the first half of the game, I wanted to throw myself off a bridge because I was like, we look terrible.
You use a lot of those type of innuendos right there.
We just didn't look like we had any spark to us, and we kind of were like letting them run all over us and wasn't very happy. I think Connor Wegman still has like a little bit of drawback from those injuries he sustained previously. And it went from being an actual injury to in between the ears now. Ooh. And it's all a head game for him, I think. And he's not taking risks like I would like to see him take. But Marcel doesn't have any of those drawbacks. He still has that fired up spirit. But it was noticeable as soon as Marcel took the field that our offense and defense had this beautiful spark to it, and everything just seemed to come together. It was great. It was great to see the 12th man electric. They're always the best. It was nice to see the box in the third quarter. When we scored on that on the first drive, or no, it was the second drive. It was nice to see the box erupt, and I was excited because, Colin Klein, truther, and everything was just so great. And that second half, I couldn't have drawn up better. Marcel Reed really brought it, and he only had 2 passes. Everything else was all rush game. Everything else. And Nussmeier, what was he doing? He threw more to our defense than we did.
Facts. I mean, that's facts.
He threw
Sorry, Jimmy.
He threw 3 interceptions. I mean, clearly he wasn't in the right place. And just like Brady Cook, whenever we played Missouri, he had made, in that press conference, he was like, it's loud, but it's not Death Valley. Okay, so it wasn't a total dig, but, you are with the 12th man. Respect it.
More facts there from Morgan. Also, watching Connor Wegman on the sideline after the benching, it just looked like he was absolutely miserable. And maybe that was just one shot that I saw. I had 4 different games going on at the same time.
Multi-view.
So, yeah.
So there was a clip that I saw when Elko told Connor that he was going to come off and Marcel was going to go in. And Connor, he looks kind of, I don't want to say defeated. That's too far.
Befuddled.
Yeah, he just kind of looked like, okay, yeah, let's try it, and even every time Marcel stepped off the field, Connor was the first person there to greet Marcel.
Okay, good.
So they have this brother thing going on, which I think is really commendable, and I think it's a beautiful thing to watch out. We can't say we're a 2-quarterback team, though, because Missouri prepared for Marcel, got Connor, got spanked. LSU prepared for Connor, ended up getting Marcel. Same thing, happened all over again. And I don't want to say we're a 2-quarterback team because look at what's happening at Florida. Looks absolutely terrible. So you can't make those kind of comments. I think it really is just a game time decision. But
maybe he just names a starter each week and then is like, hey, guys, I hope you know that the game plan is at the second quarter, about halfway through, we're switching it up.
Yep. No, I really think Connor just has some emotional drawbacks at this point. And I hate to see it, but Marcel Reed, he stepped up. He is that guy. And every drive we were on, we scored. So you can't really be upset about it because I got what I wanted. Everyone else who's an Aggie got what they wanted. What I want to talk about that's fun, though, on our final knee, Noah Thomas hit that gritty, just this little gritty dance on that final knee. Didn't even,
Can you get up and show us in Caveman Rick?
No. Didn't even, settle in for the play. Just immediately started grittying off the field because he knew it was over. And then when we lined up in victory formation, Aggie DJ Mike, shout out to him, all the respect. He played Colin Baton Rouge as we lined up in victory. So I thought that was super spiteful, but also deserved.
Did he dance with that football?
No, not Noah Thomas. No. And then the most controversial thing I've seen from this game and just all over the place was the targeting called against number 9, Jade Walker. And it was an end zone drive. We were going for the end zone, but Marcel Reed was throwing, and Walker looked at someone and went to block, and they called it targeting, but they were squared up. Yeah. They were looking at each other, and he didn't lead with the crown. And their pads, if you watch, their pads hit before any helmet contact is made. I don't think it was targeting, but he was suspended for the rest of the game, and he has to sit out the first half of South Carolina.
Well, and the thing is I want to say it was the Ohio State-Nebraska game. We had a similar situation. I don't know if you saw it or not.
Yes.
Nebraska's driving, and there's a pass over the mitle on third.
This is when they started throwing water bottles at the Nebraska sideline.
And then all of a sudden there's, but the thing is
and they called it not targeting, though. They didn't give them the...
They reviewed it, and then they said it was targeting. No, they called it targeting.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And rightly so, because it's not always... Did you launch? And it's not always, are you leading with the crown?
Right.
It's, are you making contact, forcible contact
to the head
or neck area with any part of your body?
Mm-hmm. I don't think it warranted an ejection, though. I mean, he flat laid that
part of the targeting, though.
Yeah.
That's the punitive part of it. And the thing that I don't like is now it's carried over to the first half of the next game.
Yeah.
You've already kicked this kid off the field for one game. Now you're going to do it for a second game.
Well, if it happens in the first half,
no,
then
I understand, but it's still like they want to do it for a full, 4 quarters or whatever, but it's really not.
I wish that it was a situation that targeting was one where, all right, you get away with the first one, and then your second one, it's
a yellow card, and then you get a red card. Like
but it carries over to other games too.
I got
so, if it happened in week 1, all right, well, you've got one target on you, and then the next time you sit out for a half, and then the next time is for a full game, and then after that, now we're going to start taking NIL from. I'm just kidding, but you got to learn what it is.
But no, but you brought up the point, and I was going to ask that, but. We're getting to the point now where these are no longer amateur athletes. They're all making money, right?
Not all of them, but most of them. Well, I guess starting next year. Yeah.
At this level, they're all making money.
Yeah.
So at this point, do you take it out of their pockets and say, well, just guess what? You just got suspended for X amount of quarters. Now you're getting fined too.
And the whole thing is about player safety, right? So that first time, especially if it's not egregious, you can tell when a player's trying to knock someone's block off, and you can tell sometimes there's just bang football plays.
I have another point that I wanted to add into this. Sorry, I just didn't want you to get too far before this 20 minutes is
absolutely.
Up. If we're going to talk about targeting, or we're talking about bang and hitting people in the heads and head and shoulder area, there was also, before the game, a point where Shamar Turner and a couple of LSU players got into this little shove and scuffle on the sidelines, and this was all pregame, by the way. But during the game, during the third quarter as well, Nuss was talking crap to Turner, and Turner just banged him, knocked him flat out.
With a sideways
Literally,
bang?
they weren't even they weren't even engaged in gameplay.
Yeah.
He was just up in his face talking, and Turner turned his head and just hit him with that helmet and knocked him flat out. He didn't get anything called against him. Well, I mean, we got loss of yards, yes, but they didn't call it anything egregious. They didn't call it anything outrageous. But Turner he's a much bigger guy than Walker.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's one of those situations where it's just unsportsmanlike conduct, and so you just lose the 15 yards.
She brings up a good point, though, because in the Louisville-Miami game, there was a play where a Miami defender struck a Louisville player in the helmet. Right? And so you got a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. What's the difference in that and somebody hitting somebody in the Ohio State Nebraska game where it's it's not intentional, right? What that kid did in the Ohio State game was not intentional. He wasn't trying to take his block off, right? All he did was he hit him in the wrong area. I see more, viciousness in the punch against the head than I do in that hit, but yet this kid has to sit out the first half of the game against Penn State. Granted he's a backup linebacker, but still he has to sit out. And meanwhile, this other kid who's thrown a punch essentially doesn't have to.
Well, I think maybe it depends too if it's happening during play or after the whistle. You know what I mean?
I don't think that's relevant.
Well, I understand that, but I think that might be what they're also doing. If it's during play, they look at it a little bit more egregiously, and then if it's after the whistle, it not so much.
Maybe this is where the forcible kind of comes into play a little bit more, possibly. But it would be Turner headbutts Nuss is the way I found it earlier, because I was looking for notes on it as I was building my ESPN notes today. But I just don't know. I feel like if you're going to go that heavy on something that's completely... And Shamar... It's not Shamar. Jade is a big guy. He hit that backer as low as he could. He's 6'4". The guy he hit was 5'10". I mean, he couldn't get any lower than he got. I mean, not my fault or his fault that the guy completely laid out. But, I mean, they squared up. They were looking right at each other. He was ready for the hit. I don't know.
Yeah, again, and there's some things that it's just football, right, Rick? I mean, there's some things that you just can't avoid. I mean, there's times where you go, what is this dude supposed to do? With the whole in the NFL, they don't have it in the college, thankfully, yet. But the whole, he landed on him wrong. I mean, I get it to a point.
The hip drop tackles?
No.
Putting all their weight on somebody or
quarterback,
something.
and then
that's so weak.
He landed on him wrong. And it's what are we doing here? Right?
I don't know. I just thought it was very interesting.
And sometimes too, what looks like a vicious hit or somebody getting hurt doesn't mean that it was a dirty hit or like an egregious hit. It just means somebody, unfortunately got hurt. And too many times I think when somebody really gets slobber knocked, they want to throw a flag because it's like, wow, that guy got the crap knocked out of him. Well, like if it's a legal, football tackle and he just like didn't get his head around or didn't have his head on a swivel like you see in hockey where a guy's looking the other way and somebody just body checks him and like literally just knocks the hell out of him, and can really knock him out. It's like, hey, you got to look, you got to be paying attention.
Head on a swivel, right?
Yeah.
Head on a swivel.
But they were completely squared up. He saw it coming and he braced himself for the impact. Jade put him through a brick wall is all I can say. Something about that 9.
I'm going to have to look harder for this maybe.
Like look up Sheldon Brown hitting Reggie Bush. Look at that hit.
Jimmy says, thank Tom Brady for this BS.
Sheldon Brown hitting Reggie Bush.
Yeah, it's like when Reggie Brown was with the Saints. I mean, he literally just, Sheldon Brown, like Reggie Bush is coming like full steam and he literally like stops him like dead in his tracks and knocks him to the ground, dude. And it's
yeah, fumbles the ball and everything. Yeah, that's the epitome of what a
but
football
nowadays that's the kind of thing that a lot of times a flag would get thrown because the guy got the crap knocked out of him, even though it's legal, I think sometimes.
I don't know.
I've seen.
I think when they're hitting the midsection, I haven't seen too many calls go whenever they're hitting them in the chest. I think that it's gotten better,
unless it's that defenseless receiver where he's in the air kind of situation, right?
It's such a tough thing, and the way that the injuries are. I feel like increasing at such a volume that they have to do something, or maybe is it because they're making things so easy for the offense that these players are getting hurt at a higher rate? I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
I mean, can you imagine John Lynch or Ray Lewis playing today?
No.
But also, like,
Ed Reed?
Players are bigger, stronger, faster.
It's like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, though.
The equipment is kind of better, like, the helmets for, like, avoiding concussions, but guys are wearing less helmets. Before, guys were wearing knee pads. You had like Brian Cox with like the neck roll, back in the day, and all these other like adjuncts that they would use to protect themselves. A lot of times guys are going without so that they could be faster, so they can get that extra like twitchiness at the line of scrimmage or whatever to get that jump on the offensive line or that defender that's guarding them or whoever. So I think that also comes into play too.
Or you also have Tua who says, I don't need a Guardian helmet.
Hey, I don't even need to slide. I'm just going to go at the defender.
Hey, he did a better job sliding this week. Let's give the man some credit, okay?
Jiu-jitsu.
I think it was Taekwondo. It might have been Jiu-Jitsu. It was something, and I guess it worked for a year, but maybe he forgot to do it this last offseason, and that's why he's... Joey says the rule is trying to stop people from getting hurt from hard head-to-head hits, which cause much more damage than someone punching someone, which I don't think that we were talking about people punching someone. Is what's the difference in the targeting call versus and why you get an ejection for that compared to a headbutt from a big defensive player to a quarterback? And again, I think there's a big difference in a small little headbutt that I think that's 15 yards. I don't think that you should get an ejection for that unless you get 2 unsportsmanlike conducts. Then at that point you will be ejected from that ball game. So I agree here with, and I like the point that you bring up though. I think that is a good point and a great discussion there. And AG, what are we laughing at?
Jimmy on YouTube says Tua is going to be throwing up gang signs again in no time.
And then too, like how you were saying about like the strikes and stuff, like even in hockey, like for fighting, for instance, you can get into 2 fights in a game. You try to get in a third one, you're gone. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's, enough shenanigans.
Or that one video I sent you that one time where the one hockey player went and fought the entire team one by one. And he starts dragging them off the bench, bro. It was one of the most fun things that I've ever seen. And like Coach Mazzulla for the Celtics says, bring fighting back to the NBA.
Yeah.
And that would be a wild thing. I mean, you hand suspensions out when you need to, but let the guy scrap sometimes, man. I think we need to have...
I think we should just let him scrap. I think they should have let him scrap before the LSU game, because if on
like
the break,
Michigan State,
I'll try to find the video when we go to break in just a second. But I mean, they're all up in each other's faces. It was literally like 3 A&M guys versus 10 LSU dudes. Like, let the boys talk in a different way.
I think we need boxing rings at every sporting event.
I agree. I think we should have just let them talk. But I mean, if you're these guys and you're going to talk shit to our guys, My bad. You're gonna
Let's go ahead and take a quick break here. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Anybody have made up their mind about legalizing marijuana? This is what the whole society will be like. Coach, I miss y'all. I miss y'all so much.
How's it going out there?
It's not the same without y'all.
I know you're back there with family, but we sure do miss you, man.
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Wednesday. Partly cloudy skies tonight with a gentle breeze at 11 miles per hour coming out of the east-southeast, and look for the low to be 71. Tomorrow morning, there will be some sun with the temperature reaching 79. Mostly sunny in the afternoon and evening with a high of 82. Friday will have a high of 82 and sunshine. This weather is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Are you hungry for authentic Mexican cuisine? Then come to El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, where we serve up the freshest, most flavorful dishes on the beach. El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, a great location, comfortable atmosphere, and happy hour from 3 to 7. Buy one, get one free, regular margaritas and 12-ounce house drafts. And you're going to love their lunch specials Monday through Friday from 11 to 3. Plus live music Wednesdays and Saturdays starting at 5:30. El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, Thomas Drive across from the Navy base.
Are you looking to invest in rare coins and precious metals? Well, look no further. Coin and Bullion Reserves is Bay County's trusted source for rare coins and precious metals. Located in the heart of Panama City, our showroom is stocked with a vast selection of gold and silver bullion, rare coins, and currency. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned collector, we have what you're looking for. Our sales staff has over 50 years of experience to help guide you through your purchase. Come and visit Coin and Bullion Reserves today and build your collection with confidence.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. Now, the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back, and this is our final segment of this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. It's David Hayes along with Adam Goff, Caveman Rick, and our Texas A&M pundit, Morgan Hilliard. Morgan, what do you got on us? Oh, you found that video for me with Shamar Turner and Garrett Nussmeier and the pregame festivities, if you will, between the 10-on-3 LSU, 10 LSU guys and 3 Texas A&M guys, and they were mixing it up, but nothing got too far out of hand outside of the coach who was in between 2 ginormous football players getting shoved around like a rag doll. But the little hit from Shamar Turner to on Garrett Nussmeier is, I don't think that's ejectable offense, but it is one of those things. He gives him a little sideways headbutt, which I thought was pretty cool, and I think what makes Garrett Nussmeier go down is that big old elbow going into his gut there. But what do you got on what else do you have? I see a lot of notes there, and we kind of took over that segment talking about targeting.
You're fine. I had A&M South Carolina, but I don't know if it's anything I haven't already talked about.
We'll talk a little bit more about it. Maybe someone new is listening.
Maybe so. I am just so nervous for this, honestly.
Especially being on the road.
Being on the road at night at South Carolina, I just don't love any of those things. I think they have a really good student presence. I think that they have a lot of, what a good at-home presence embodies, which is very exciting for them. Go Scar, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, but we have a 54% win percentage against them. What makes me nervous is that they took Alabama, took LSU on a run. A good run.
Thanks for the respect to Alabama and then the diss to LSU.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
She could have said parole tie.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're welcome. No, they're not Georgia players. They're not speeding everywhere.
We've moved on from that era.
Well, think about it. By proxy, by extension, they are, because Smart was a Saban.
This is true.
This is true.
Right? So. I'm glad my head coach didn't come from that thug facility.
Okay.
Off the rails.
Off the rails. Here we go.
But they took them on a good run, and they held their own, and they kept it into a 3-point game in both games, and that makes me really nervous, especially to be at their turf, on their territory. There's something about those Gamecocks. You never know when they're going to come out to bite.
Yeah, I mean it's a good point, and like you did mention the 2-point loss to Alabama, but gave Bama everything that they could handle and more. They've been maybe it's what we've kind of become accustomed to with Shane Beamer, where it's up one week, down the next week, but the last couple of weeks, it looks like they've been playing a much better brand of football. They absolutely torched Oklahoma. So, anything can happen. I think that's one of the situations here. And I think for the rest of the SEC right now, with Texas A&M being on top, all other SEC fans,
please stop the count.
I think the rest of the SEC fans would love to see South Carolina go ahead and give the Aggies their first SEC loss, because now, I mean, you talk about chaos. A&M, if they win this game, then you've got a nobody. I can't remember who it is. And then you've got Auburn. Okay, all right, right. And then you've got Auburn, and then you wrap it up with Texas. So there's still, if South Carolina wins this game, then the SEC championship and what that's going to look like, no one can fathom it right now with so many big-time games yet to be played.
What's A&M's schedule look like the rest of the way?
So we have South Carolina this weekend, then we have New Mexico State, and then we have Auburn, and then we have Texas, and that wraps up our entire regular season.
They host Texas, and they've got Auburn and Jordan here.
So if you're Alabama, if you're Texas, don't you want A&M to run the table at this point?
Well,
one less
Bama's got
obstacle to go
two conference
through?
losses.
Right.
They have none.
Right.
Texas A&M has none. Texas has one.
Yes. So in Texas's favor, yes, you want us to lose. Alabama, you're maybe not worried about it. Truthfully, everyone else, it kind of goes back and forth.
I think Alabama needs a lot of chaos in front of them to ensure that they can get to the college football playoff without an appearance in the SEC championship game.
Right, but if you're Alabama, right? So you're Alabama.
Okay.
You've got two losses. You've got Georgia. What's Georgia's schedule look like the remainder of the way, right?
They've got Florida this week, Ole Miss at the house, I believe, and they're on the road
Tennessee.
taking on Tennessee. No. They're on the road against Ole Miss, Tennessee, UMass, and Georgia Tech to close it out.
Right, which Georgia Tech and UMass doesn't count in this scenario, right? So you've got Florida, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. If you're Alabama, Georgia loses one more of those?
Well, but I think you want Georgia to beat Tennessee, though.
I don't think you do.
Do you want Tennessee to beat
Because Tennessee has a
Georgia?
better chance of losing down the road than Georgia does, I think.
I agree
right?
with this statement.
So if you have, so if you're Alabama, you want A&M to run the table, hang another loss on Texas, and then you want.
But then Texas A&M
Georgia
and Georgia are going to be
more.
playing. But I don't think they're going to lose to Ole Miss.
But then we both have a bye, and then that almost guarantees us to meet. Finally.
The biggest thing for Bama right now is you got to beat LSU. If you don't beat LSU, then all of this is over and
Jimmy, you
done
paying
with.
attention, buddy?
I mean, but if you're LSU, you got to beat Alabama. You know, it's one of those situations. And I mean, I don't know if I'm rooting for any team to run the table, because if Georgia, let's say Georgia doesn't lose another one, right? They're going to be in the SEC championship, and they're going to be taking on more than likely Texas A&M, provided that Texas A&M doesn't lose 2 games.
And that hurts us in the very beginning, because Georgia, they have a good defense. They have Carson Beck. You know, they have all the great elements. They've been here before. They know what they're doing. You know, coming into a new playoff and coming into what we're coming into. I mean, it kind of almost in a way sets us up for failure because of that head game.
But the thing is this season, where you guys are at right now, being undefeated in the SEC and manageable games for the rest of the way out, I picked Texas A&M to beat Texas at the beginning of the season when we were doing all of our predictions. So that could still ring to be true. Who knows? That's, at Kyle Field. But this season's been a success. If I'm a Texas A&M fan, this season has been a success already. Year one. Well, exactly.
Why do you think I'm in maroon?
I think what Elko's been able to. What Elko's been able to do in year one for you guys has been very impressive in a year where there has been so much chaos already, and that's why I just can't believe that there's not going to be more chaos down the road, because we know how it goes. We haven't even gotten to the first college football playoff rankings yet, and then so that's going to get solidified next Tuesday, and the Big Ten at some point in time, it's going to have to start eating itself. And it starts this Saturday with Ohio State and Oregon. Like, the SEC's been doing it all year, where Bama beats Georgia. No one was expecting that. Vandy beats Alabama. No one was expecting that. You have all of these. And I don't think anyone was expecting Texas A&M to do what they did. Not that they couldn't win that game. I picked
particularly
them to win
after week 1 against Notre Dame.
Well, right. And then you have that where, because LSU, they've only got, I think that was their first conference loss, right?
Right.
But they have a very ugly loss that each week looks uglier. So Texas A&M's loss looks better each week because Notre Dame continues to get better, whereas LSU's opening loss looks terrible week after week because USC just can't get out of their own daggone way.
I just look at it like if you're an SEC team that's got 2 losses right now, or even 1 loss, there's less chaos ahead of you. And obviously, if you don't play Texas A&M, let me rephrase that.
If you have 1 loss,
you want A&M to actually go undefeated at that point because that's 1 less hurdle to overcome.
But if you're an SEC team in this scenario, you are the entire rest of the SEC. We are the only one who hasn't been beat yet.
Right.
And we've had some good matchups early on. We had Arkansas already. We had these people already. Do I think playing at home was an advantage to A&M? Absolutely. But it's really hard to say because that bye is going to potentially hurt us if we hit that bye.
I mean, and Texas is in a good position as well, even though, they've just got the 1 SEC loss right now. So, all right, so here's another...
What if?
What if, right. Texas A&M loses to South Carolina. Well, and then they lose the final game of the season to Texas. Well, if you're Alabama and other teams in front of you, you beat LSU. And Georgia would still have to, I guess... No, because Texas would have to lose another game in order for Bama to jump up at that point. And there's still so many scenarios.
That's A&M.
Until
you get to,
a month from today, it's coming.
Hey,
it's coming.
But what I'm saying is Alabama beat South Carolina, right? So if Bama and Texas A&M are sitting with their identical conference record at the end of the year, then I would imagine that then the tiebreaker is going to be common opponents. And that's one of the... So if Texas A&M loses to South Carolina and Bama beats them, and then Texas finds a way to lose to Arkansas or Florida or something, then I would imagine that will bump them up. But again, I mean, week in and week out, this landscape is going to continue to change. And so really, I mean, just I think for the teams who are sitting in that 2-loss tier, conference loss-wise in the SEC, is just win your games. That's the only thing that you can do. And then you have to... Then when you start seeing how the chaos can ensue, so as far as I see it, I want the worst team to lose, I want the worst team to win every time. So in this case, it would be South Carolina and Texas A&M, but I'm not going to be picking that way because I think Texas A&M is the better football team.
This is actually one of my favorite topics, like one of those transfer wins, like stack on your resume, I beat you, but you beat them, you know, like one of the
transitive property.
Thank you. Right. I love a transitive one because technically, at this point in time, we own you, you know, not technically Alabama, but we own you in a transitive way.
Well, like the Reds swept both the Dodgers and the Yankees this year. So
World Series
champs. Let's go.
But it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, we technically own you, so why can't we beat you?
Yeah, I mean, but we don't play each other this year.
I'm not talking about Alabama.
Oh,
I'm just talking
about
in general. Just in general. Okay. I'm not talking about Alabama.
Not everything's about you, Dave.
Yeah, not everything about it. Not everything is about Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. No.
What's your final, we've got about a minute here. What's your final takeaway from this last week for your Aggies?
I just hope they show up and keep doing what they're doing on that field. And I just really love the energy that Marcel brought in that second half. And, you know, I was actually at the bar in full Halloween Barbie getup. I'm Barbie for Halloween. And when Marcel...
Surprise
everyone.
Shocked face.
But when Marcel ran it in, I literally stood up in the booth at the Blue Moon and started screaming, Marcel! Respect him! Like, you know, this whole crazy shenanigan. Everyone in the bar is like, who is this crazy girl?
Dressed like Barbie. Did you roll up playing that song like the I'm a Barbie girl?
No, I didn't.
You didn't? Well,
No.
you should get you a boombox. Be boombox Barbie.
Real.
And
no,
then
I rolled up with sicko mode.
Sicko mode. All right, little Travis Scott. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, and that is going to be our final stop for the afternoon. AG, anything you want to leave the people with?
No, not really. Good.
Caveman Rick?
Hey, tomorrow's Halloween. Have fun. Be safe, man.
All right, and check Yo Candy once, twice, maybe thrice. Let's see, what do I want to leave the people with? Ooh, I'm about to go do a podcast with Kyle Wright, Leave It at the Table, so check that out. We're going to be talking about a little bit of music this evening. Y'all have a great rest of your evening. Be safe out there. Buckle up, and remember, the most important thing that I say every single day is Jesus loves you, and so do I. Y'all have a wonderful evening. We'll chat with you tomorrow at 4.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're the radio home of the Mosley Dolphins.
Your 9-0 undefeated district champion Mosley Dolphins travel to 6-3 Florida State University High School. Kickoff Friday at 6 right here. Mosley Dolphin football on ESPN Northwest Florida is sponsored by Panama City Toyota, Orthopedic Specialist, and Chapman Wealth Management.
Good evening. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Wednesday. Partly cloudy skies tonight with a gentle breeze at 11 miles per hour coming out of the east-southeast, and look for the low to be 71. Tomorrow morning, there will be some sun with the temperature reaching 79.